Have you ever driven on a highway in America and seen a motionless shadow lying by the side of the road? Most of us would only glance at it for a second, then keep pressing the gas as if nothing had happened. But after that moment, someone will be called in to handle what is left behind. They wear reflective vests, thick gloves, and step out near streams of traffic rushing past at high speed. Their job is to remove animal carcasses from the road before they become the cause of another accident. It may sound strange, even a little chilling, but in America, this is a real job that exists. They are called roadkill removal workers. And if one day no one did this job anymore, the roads you travel on would become much more dangerous. If you are hearing the name of this job for the first time, many people might think it is a joke. Because in most of our imaginations, highways only have drivers, police cars, tow trucks, and road repair workers. Very few people think that somewhere in America, there are people who begin their workday by looking for dead animals along the roadside. They do not sit in front of a computer in an office. They do not serve customers in a clean, brightly lit store. Their work takes place outdoors, beside the sound of trucks, car horns, and high-speed lanes. Whenever a resident, the police, or a traffic crew reports a dead animal on the road, they are sent to the scene. The task sounds simple: remove it. But in reality, it is a process that requires physical strength, caution, and the ability to stay calm. Because what they are handling is not just an animal carcass. It can be a traffic obstruction. It can be a source of odor, attract insects, or carry potential biological risks. And in some cases, it can make another driver panic, brake suddenly, or steer the wrong way. So roadkill removal workers do not exist just to do some strange job for fun. They exist to keep roads safe, clean, and able to continue operating normally. Roadkill is the word Americans use for animals that have been hit and killed by vehicles on the road. It could be a small squirrel crossing the street too slowly. A raccoon appearing in the middle of the night under the headlights. A stray dog wandering onto the highway. Or in many rural areas, it could be a large deer suddenly rushing out from the edge of the forest. For drivers, roadkill is sometimes something they only see for a few seconds. But for the transportation system, it is a real problem. An animal carcass lying in the middle of the road can cause drivers to brake suddenly. One person swerves to avoid it, the person behind cannot react in time, and a chain reaction accident can happen. If it is a large animal such as a deer, what remains of it can even become a dangerous obstacle in the lane. Not to mention, an animal carcass left outdoors for too long will decompose, give off a smell, and attract insects or other scavengers. That can draw more living animals closer to the road, creating a new risk of collision. In America, where many roads run through forests, grasslands, and vast suburban areas, vehicle collisions with animals are not rare at all. So roadkill is not just an unpleasant sight on the roadside. It is a traffic safety issue. It is a public sanitation issue. And sometimes, it is a sign that humans and wildlife are colliding with each other every single day. That is why there need to be people who specialize in removing roadkill. Not because this job is beautiful, but because if no one did it, the consequences on the road could be much worse. A workday for a roadkill removal worker usually does not begin with a pleasant schedule. It can start with a call from the police, a traffic crew, or a resident who has just found an animal carcass by the road. On the screen, they receive the location, the type of road, the level of danger, and sometimes the estimated size of the animal. Then they check their truck, reflective vest, thick gloves, shovel, hooks, specialized bags, and disinfectant solution. For them, forgetting even one small item can make the shift more dangerous. When they arrive at the scene, the first thing they do is not remove the carcass. The first thing is to protect themselves. They turn on warning lights, place traffic cones, watch the flow of vehicles, and choose the safest possible position to stand. Because just one distracted driver is enough to turn a cleanup job into a real accident. After the area is under control, they approach the animal. If it is a small animal, they may use a shovel or a grabbing tool to place it into a container. But if it is a large deer, the job may require extra workers, tow straps, or a vehicle with a hydraulic lift gate. Every movement has to be fast, steady, and with as little direct contact as possible. After collecting the carcass, they check the road surface to make sure there are no remaining pieces that could make it slippery or dangerous. If needed, they clean the area with disinfecting tools. Finally, the animal carcass is taken to a disposal site according to local regulations. And when this job is finished, another call may already be waiting. It is repetitive, physically demanding, quiet work that very few people ever see. But each time they leave the scene, the road becomes safer for hundreds of drivers behind them. The hardest part of this job is not just the smell. It is having to step onto the road while vehicles are still rushing past only a few meters away. On one side, there is the pressure to handle the situation quickly. On the other, there is the risk that all it takes is one distracted driver for everything to become dangerous. Then summer comes, when temperatures rise, animal carcasses decompose faster, and the smell becomes much heavier. Workers have to wear thick gloves, protective boots, masks, and always limit direct contact. Not because they are weak, but because this can be a source of bacteria, parasites, or infectious diseases. But perhaps the most haunting part is not the wild animals. It is when they see a collar on a dog or a cat. At that moment, the job is no longer just cleanup. It reminds them that somewhere, a family may be looking for their pet. After being removed from the road, an animal carcass is not simply thrown away anywhere. Depending on the state, the city, and the agency in charge, it will be taken to a specific disposal site. Some places send them to landfills. Some take them to biological waste treatment facilities. Some use composting, which means turning animal carcasses into controlled decomposable material. It may sound strange, but this is how some local areas reduce costs and limit waste. For large animals like deer, transportation may also require specialized vehicles or hydraulic lift gates. Everything has to be done according to regulations, because this is not just ordinary trash. It can carry odor, bacteria, parasites, and risks that may affect the environment. So the work of a roadkill removal worker does not end when the road becomes clean again. They are also the first link in an entire disposal process behind the scenes. A quiet, little-known process, but one that is necessary for the city to keep operating normally. Do not think this job only requires someone strong enough to hold a shovel. A roadkill removal worker needs good physical fitness, because they often have to lift, pull, bend down, and work for hours outdoors. They have to endure heat, cold rain, snow, bad smells, and sights that are not easy to look at. But physical strength is only one part of it. The more important skill is knowing how to work safely beside high-speed traffic. They must know how to place traffic cones, watch the lanes, choose where to stand, and react quickly when danger appears. In addition, they need to understand how to use protective gear, gloves, boots, masks, and specialized tools. Many positions also require a proper driver's license. A clean driving record, or experience driving construction trucks. And there is one skill few people mention: staying calm. Because in this job, panic or rushing can make everything more dangerous. People who do this job well are not just strong. They have to be careful, disciplined, tough, and mentally steady enough to do work that many people cannot bear to look at for long. So how much does a difficult and unpleasant job like this pay? The answer is, it depends on the location, the hiring agency, and the level of danger involved in the work. In America, roadkill removal workers may work for a city, a county, a department of transportation, animal control, or a private contractor. Some positions are paid by the hour, usually falling into the category of outdoor labor and road maintenance work. The common pay range can be around $15 to $30 an hour, depending on the area and experience. For full-time work, that can equal roughly $30,000 to more than $60,000 a year. But not everyone earns the same amount. In places with many large animals like deer, the work can be harder and more dangerous. Some contractors may also be paid per cleanup job or per animal carcass. That means income can vary greatly from one local area to another. It may sound strange, but this is the kind of job where people are paid to do something very few others want to do. It is not glamorous, and it is not clean, but it is so necessary that someone always has to take responsibility for it. This job is far more important than many people realize, because roadkill is not just an unpleasant sight by the road. An animal carcass lying in the wrong place can cause drivers to brake suddenly, swerve, or trigger a chain reaction accident. If left there for too long, it can give off a bad smell, attract insects, and draw other animals closer to the traffic lanes. That turns one accident that has already happened into a risk for many more accidents afterward. Roadkill removal workers help break that chain of danger. They clean the road surface, reduce obstacles, and help traffic return to normal. They also help maintain public sanitation in residential areas, highways, and suburban communities. Their work usually happens quickly, quietly, and with very few people noticing. But if one day they were not there, we would notice the difference immediately. The roads would be much dirtier, more dangerous, and far more unpleasant. So this is not a lowly job. It is a silent job that helps society operate more safely every day. Next time, if you are driving on a road in America and see a clean stretch of road after an incident, remember that someone may have been there before you. They do not appear on billboards. Not many people know their names. And they are rarely thanked directly. But they still put on reflective vests, step out near dangerous traffic, and do the work that most of us would avoid. Roadkill removal worker is not a glamorous job. It is physically demanding, dirty, dangerous, and sometimes deeply haunting. But it is jobs like this that keep society operating normally. A safer road. A cleaner neighborhood. A driver avoiding an unnecessary risk. All of it begins with the people working quietly by the roadside. And that is why, even though this job sounds strange, it deserves to be seen with respect.